pay the regular price when you can save money on every purchase with WagerBucks at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo. WagerBucks are now eligible for use on not just daily, 3-day, and 7-day passes, but all long-term and seasonal packages up to 1 full year. There are tons of options available for every budget and size of bettor. From low as $100 gets $110, all the way up to $2,500 gets you $3,000. Save every day on every pick you buy with WagerBucks.
We are live Thursday, July 7th, WagerTalk TV. This is WagerTalk Today. I am your host, Steve Merrill, filling in for the Prez this week, who's on an adventure south of the border, the USA, that is. That's my co-host, as always, Rocksteady Teddy Covers. And we got a great Thursday show, as we always have, with Dave Cokin leading off here in a few moments. Then we're going to bring on Tony Mejia, finish it off with Jimmy Adams, who remains red hot in baseball at WagerTalk.com. You know, Teddy, I think on Tuesday we got to 5, maybe 6 MLB games. Yesterday we had 7 baseball games, 6 MLB and a Tokyo Brandon special. We're going to get to 7 MLB. Actually, nope, I misspoke. 6 today because we're going to do an NBA Summer League game with Tony Mejia. So 6 more free baseball plays from Dave, Tony, and Jimmy, and Teddy Covers' big game breakdown. And also some NBA Summer League, which I'm excited to talk about for the first time this week with Tony Mejia. But before we all do that today, let's talk some football because we are less than a month away from the start of the NFL preseason. And, you know, a great way to bone up fast on the NFL and college football in particular is with Mark Lawrence's Playbook Football Annual. And by the way, it's the 30th year anniversary. Have you gotten a chance to see that annual yet, Teddy Covers?
I have. I just looked at it for the first time yesterday, and you're absolutely right, Steve. 4 weeks from today, we will have nothing against the USFL. But 4 weeks from today, we'll have bettable football in terms of the Hall of Fame game. And then the following week, obviously, week 1. That'll be week 2 of the preseason. They don't call it the Hall of Fame week anymore. But the bottom line is literally we got 4 weeks. And then we've got football for the next 7 months. So we can hang in there. But, yeah, I got my digital version of Mark Lawrence's playbook yesterday. I'll tell you what. You know, I've probably purchased this particular magazine, I think every year since I've been in Vegas, since '98. I got them all stacked up in the corner over there on the bookshelf. But if you like a magazine that has everything that you could travel with, it's easy to access, nothing but good things to say about Mark Lawrence's playbook. You know, there's a page for every team with game logs, and the game logs are an invaluable quick reference all season long. The coach's ATS data, NFL season wins history, strength of schedule data, college football transfer portal info, coaching coordinator changes. Look, I don't work for Mark, all right? And I don't know a lot of the handicappers advertised in the magazine, so I can't speak for or against them. But WagerTalk doesn't have a football magazine for me to promote, and the info in this magazine is really good. It's worth the money. Mark Lawrence's playbook. Again, sat down with it yesterday for the first time. Won't be the last time over the course of the next month. What about you, Steve? What did you learn yesterday?
Yeah, I actually did the college football article again this year for Mark's magazine. I spoke with him a few weeks ago. I hadn't caught up with him probably over a year. And at least when I talked to him a few weeks ago, he hadn't announced the WagerTalk date yet for the Vegas get-together. But I'm pretty sure Mark said he's going to be out there that same weekend for the Super Contest weekend, which is, of course, why we're doing it that weekend. So pretty sure we will be able to mingle with Mark Lawrence as well. Just another reason to come out to Las Vegas, August 19th to 21st, and see us at the Westgate. The meet and greet, once again, begins Friday the 19th, runs through that Sunday, the 21st of August. And yesterday's show, I gave out the promo codes for the room discounts. They're also on Twitter at WagerTalk and on the WagerTalk news feed at WagerTalk.com. So get the annual, read the annual, and then you might even get a chance to talk to the legend himself, Mark Lawrence, on August 19th to 21st. Mark, as you know, Teddy, is as good as anyone in the industry. He's a great guy. We've known him for decades now. And he's going as strong as ever also. And for those that think he hands us off to somebody else, he does pretty much all the work. Trust me, I know. I've spoken to him about it. And I can't imagine, Teddy, the undertaking of doing an annual like this. Just putting that article out is tough for me every year. I can't imagine doing all of this. I know he has a couple guys helping him, but still, Mark gets down and dirty as ever. And like he told me, he goes, look, it really helps my football prep. So he's ahead of the game, to say the least, compared to even us with the football prep. But Let's bring in Dave Cokin. Dave, I want to get your thoughts too. I mean, how do you prepare for the upcoming football season? I know you're big on watching games. You watch a ton of hockey, a ton of baseball on a daily basis when we do the shows. How do you get ready for that month of September, though, with so much uncertainty now with the transfer portal and these new players on new teams?
Well, I mean, there's definitely great sources out there. Mark is one of them. No question about that. Phil Steele's magazine, whatever Kenny White produces. Kenny's stuff is very unique. I got involved with somebody. Their handle is the Tailgate Tent, and their college football stuff is absolutely great. And yeah, get as much of it as you can, because the more information you have, the better off you are. And then tailor it to fit your needs. I mean, if you're a trend guy, you certainly have to get the stuff that Mark puts up, because there's nobody who puts out more good technical information than Mark Lawrence. That's absolutely great stuff, especially, by the way, for those who want to do write-ups on games. The stuff you can steal out of Mark's magazine is top shelf all the way. By the way, one little argument with you, Teddy. There is football going on right now. The CFL. I'm 3-0 so far. I don't have a play on tonight's game, but I like the CFL, and so far so good. Hopefully we'll find a couple of winners before the week is out.
Yeah, I left that off of my brain because I'm not handicapping it this year. But absolutely, CFL, and there. I know, Dave, you've done very well in it. You're not the only one that's done very well in CFL over the years. Nonetheless, for the excitement of Canadian football in the summer months, it's not quite what we're going to be talking about when it comes to NFL and college in the fall. But Dave, I wanted to ask you one follow-up question on what you were just talking about in terms of your summer research. When you do your work over the summer, and then the team on the field week one in the fall isn't what you expected it to be, do you throw the work you've done in the summers and completely change it out? Or how long does it take you to say what I did over the summer is right or isn't right? My opinions about these teams were right or wrong, or are you willing to throw that away pretty quickly after a couple of bad early season results, or good early season results from a team you thought were going to be bad?
Yeah, it varies from team to team, and this is why I like to watch games. Because with some teams, it might just be that they had a bad game or a better game than you would have expected. With others, it's like, there might be a problem here, or this team might be a lot better than I thought they were going to be. So, that's where, for me, and I'm not saying that, but there's people who never watch a game in any sport and win. Personally, I think there's a lot more of those that lose. But because I garner tremendous information from watching teams. I want to see particularly what the chemistry is in a lot of cases. I mean, you take a look, even in the CFL, you take a look at the Toronto Argonauts. They're off this week. Their chemistry right now is just a mess. You can't get this stuff from looking at a box score. They almost had a fight on the sidelines in last week's game, and then they thought they were going to overtime, and the guy misses an extra point. I mean, you got to wonder about the state of that team, and those are things that you can't get unless you watch games. So that, for me, is still really important.
Well, speaking of watching games, Dave, I know you live and die by Major League Baseball. On a nightly basis, you're watching these games, and we'll have you on at 1:45 Eastern. Jimmy Adams is going to be on later as well on First Pitch, so I highly recommend checking today's baseball show.
I'm not on today.
You're not on with me today? Oh, you know what? I think we got a Tony Finn sighting. You're exactly right. Jimmy Adams and Tony Finn. Yeah, I'm all confused. I'm actually filling in for Drew Martin, so it's a little bit of a different shakeup today. You're on tomorrow with me on Friday, and I'm looking forward to that. So, yeah, we'll finish the week right with Dave tomorrow and Friday on MLB First Pitch. Today is Tony Finn and Jimmy Adams with myself, Steve Merrill. So thank you, Dave. You're right about that. And I'm glad we got you today to talk some baseball then here on WagerTalk Today. And you do very well with the first 5 innings. I know you've got something here, the Rockies and Diamondbacks tonight. Tell us about that.
Yeah, just to be clear, I only got involved with one game today, and this isn't it. I'm not selling any packages today. I created a -1 line on one game where I'm playing half the game on the money line, half the game on the runs line. If you're an all-access customer, you've already got that play, and you got it last night, in fact, because I thought the line would go up, and it has in a big way. So, won that end of things. Anything else I've got today is opinion only, because it's one of those days where there's just massive conflicts between the pitching data and the team data. And I'm just not the type to force plays, and I don't need the sales, quite frankly. So looking at this game as an example, the pitching, not that I like Austin Gomber, You mentioned that was it the Rockies Diamondbacks you mentioned? Or
Yeah,
what,
yeah, the Rockies D-backs.
Okay. So I don't want Austin Gomber, and I sure don't want Dallas Keuchel, who he could be pitching his last major league game. It is very conceivable he'll get DFA'd by the Diamondbacks shortly, and I don't know that anybody's going to bother to pick him up at this point because he can't pitch anymore. His walk rate is sky high. He's walking almost 6 guys per 9 innings, and he doesn't strike out guys. So Keuchel's always been a contact pitcher, and contact rates really aren't that awful, but he's just putting too many guys on base. Unfortunately, the team data all points to Arizona. The Rockies aren't hitting the ball at all. 75 WRC plus over the last week, which stinks. And the Diamondbacks are 126 over that same time frame. They're hitting the ball. So you got a plus 51 WRC plus on the Arizona side. And at this price, you look at that and say, wow, that's a game I want to get on. There's value with the hotter team here. And then you look, oh, wait a minute. It means I got to bet on Dallas Keuchel. No. If I had to make a play in this game, I'd go first 5 Rockies simply because maybe Gomber could have some success, and it's like your last chance to go against Keuchel because you just can't pitch anymore. But it's just a lean on the Rockies' first 5.
So when a veteran pitcher who was once good and is no longer good is tailing off down the stretch of his career, I remember making some big bets, maybe some of the biggest baseball bets I've ever made, against Mark Mulder in his last days with St. Louis, when he just had nothing left and he was throwing meatballs and they were pricing him in this pick'em range. Nonetheless, you nailed it. If Dallas Keuchel gets rocked today, this will be his last Major League Baseball start. It sure feels that way.
I think so. And
is there ever a scenario in which a pitcher's been so bad, then you know he's a veteran, he's capable in theory of getting somebody out? Is there ever a scenario in which this guy's pitching for his career in a pick'em game that maybe you want to back him?
That's kind of what went through my mind. Keuchel knows the story. Okay, Lavala almost bypassed him in this start. So I think he knows that a bad performance tonight, and he's going back to the golf course or hunting or fishing or whatever he does in his spare time because he's not going to be playing baseball. So there might be a sense of urgency tonight, and he's got the right lineup to face as far as that goes because the Rockies aren't exactly good on the road, especially against lefties. So, well, they're actually 108 on the road. They actually have been good on the road against lefties this year. So that's kind of why I was leaning to the Rockies. But I just couldn't get to the window with Austin Gomber either. He's been horrible. And I suppose it's like, why am I not on the over here? I don't know. Call it a gut feeling.
Well, I was going to say one thing might keep you off the over, Dave, is the fact the Rockies had 1 hit in their game yesterday against the Dodgers. And only had 8 hits in the other ones. And best offensive numbers in baseball at home, basically the second or third worst on the road, depending on what you look at. So, I mean, this is a team that's not a good offensive team, and their numbers are inflated because of Coors Field. And just to put in that bad Keuchel has been pretty much bad in every start this season. They gave him a month off. He was out of the rotation after May 26. He's been back for the last 2 starts. He's given up 11 runs, 10 earned in just over 9 innings. So this is definitely the third strike you're out, right? But like you said, he's facing a really bad offensive team. So maybe he could sneak in a decent outing. We could fade him in his next start if that's the case. And the only reason he's still in the lineup is because he's a former almost Cy Young, winner 4 years ago. He was 5th in Cy Young voting. But yeah, he would not be pitching otherwise. Mark Mulder, a lefty as well, Teddy. So not a coincidence that 2 lefties last a little longer maybe as well in big league baseball. But Dallas Keuchel, not the same Dallas Keuchel we saw a few years ago.
What I was going to mention is I don't know that it has to do with their left-handedness, but, Mulder and Keuchel, these were guys who were really good pitchers. I think Keuchel won a Cy Young, and he just was ground ball after ground ball after ground ball. He was really good. So I think there's that thought, whatever team has him rostered, that maybe you can find that magic again. Maybe we got a pitching coach that can bring it back out, and we can get a half a season out of the guy. I just don't think it's going to be happening with Keuchel. It's more of a pipe dream than anything else.
No, Keuchel won the Cy Young in 2015, but recently in 2000, 2 years ago, he was 5th in the Cy Young voting. That's what's incredible to me is it's 2 years ago he was 5th, almost won another one. And Mark Mulder, 2006 at a 7.1 ERA and 17 starts. They still let him pitch 2 more seasons. He had 6 more starts over the next 2 seasons with a 12 and 10 ERA. So these guys will hang around longer than maybe they should, even when the writing is already on the wall. And we see that with Dallas Keuchel. Let's look at one more baseball game while we got you. Once again, Dave will be back tomorrow and Friday on MLB First Pitch at 1:45 Eastern here on the network. But I want to talk another NL West game, Giants-Padres, how you're approaching this one. Obviously, San Diego is one of the better teams in baseball, but they've been up and down recently. Giants were a huge surprise last season. Not quite as good this year. They've been up and down as well. How are you attacking this one, San Francisco, San Diego?
What's the Giants' losing streak now? I forgot to write it down. It's either 6 or 7. So I don't want them. Oh, that's right. They won last night. Excuse me. I forgot.
They snapped a 6-game losing streak last night.
Right. But they're not playing good baseball, rather, obviously. And neither is San Diego, which can't find any offense. And here you've got the game. So this looks obvious, right? You've got, over the last week, recency is very important in any sport, but in Major League Baseball. The last week, both teams have a 73 weighted runs created plus. That's my favorite offensive stat. 100 is about average. They're both at 73 over the last week, so neither team is hitting the baseball. You got 2 quality pitchers in Logan Webb and this superb left-hander, right-hander Joe Musgrove, who's had a great year for the Padres. So it looks like an under, and I certainly would lean that way. Here's why it didn't make my card and remained in the lean category. One is that 3.5 with minus 125, that's not real attractive. I mean, there's not much room for error there. If the price were lower, if it was minus 105 or minus 110, okay, but you get minus 125, that's a little bit steep. The second thing is I found something interesting on Musgrove. He has been basically untouchable when he's pitching on 4 or 5 days rest this season. When he's had more rest than that, he's been more hittable. He's been, not great. Been okay. It hasn't been horrible. But he's been more hittable when he's on extended rest, which sometimes happens with guys who like to throw 2-seamers and get some sink. They get a little too strong sometimes between starts, and the ball doesn't do what it's supposed to do. And Musgrove comes in here on 6 days rest. These are just kind of the little things these are why my cards are so small compared to some other people. I am actively looking to eliminate as many games as possible. I'm the complete opposite of some guys who just want to get an edge and fire away. And I'm not knocking their style because a lot of them do well with that. I don't. When I try and splash, it's a horror show. Okay, if I end up with a 6-game card, it's like, oh shit, I hope I go 3-3. Okay, because that's outside of college football where I'll play more games. Baseball is a sport where when I fire with both barrels on a card, I've learned my lesson over the years. Less is more for me. So I'll call this a lean on the under first 5 between the Giants and Diamondbacks, but I didn't actually put my own money on it. So if you want to, go ahead, but don't yell at me if it doesn't get there.
So let me ask you about Musgrove, because obviously the guy had a phenomenal first half of the campaign.
Yeah.
But his last couple of starts, he says he's allowed 5 home runs his last 3 starts. He had 1 start where he only had the 1 strikeout, and the Phillies hit him real hard. Last time out, a guy who's been pretty good at keeping the ball down and on the ground, all of a sudden it's all fly balls from Musgrove. Are there enough red flags? Is Musgrove a bet on or a bet against pitcher moving forward? I guess is the question.
I think maybe more bet against because the Padres' offense kind of sucks. Okay? Where do they need Tatis back? And he's still, I would think, a good month away from returning. They're just not getting any production. And that puts a lot of heat on the pitcher to go out there and try and be perfect. And the other thing is, look, I was ready to say, Musgrove is a guy I've gotten wrong because I really never thought of him as more than a middle-of-the-rotation guy who go out there and grind out 6 innings, 2 or 3 runs, keep his team in the game. I never thought he'd be this good. If you ask me, would Joe Musgrove ever be on your list of Cy Young contenders? Would have been, what are you kidding? So he's been a much better pitcher than I thought, but I don't think he's quite this good, to be honest with you. So I think I would lean toward bet against on that question, Teddy.
Yeah, and his first 3 seasons were in Pittsburgh, 50-plus starts, and ERA of over 4 combined those first 3 years in the big leagues. So he's a guy that's obviously kind of the opposite of Keuchel, a guy that's come on and pitched better than ever. Does that continues the big question, whereas a guy like Dallas Keuchel is obviously heading the opposite direction. So 2 interesting games to talk about in the NL West for Thursday.
Quick note, though, on Musgrove, everybody gets better when they leave Pittsburgh because they feel it. I'm serious about this. They feel like they're going, in most cases, to a team that's got a chance to win. I think that drags down performances of the Pirates as they know going in. I don't care how optimistic they sound talking. They know they've got no chance to contend going in. And a lot of times teams like that start dragging their feet, and it drags down the performances of a lot of guys on the team. That's one of the reasons I'm so surprised with how a team in your neck of the woods, Steve, the Orioles, are performing right now, because they know they've got no chance in the American League East. But holy crap, does that team scratch and claw on a nightly basis. And it's going to get them better in the long run, is the belief they have in themselves that they can compete on a nightly basis. I don't think teams like the Pirates have that.
Yeah, and the Padres, by the way, have another ex-Pirate, Blake Snell, right, who's been up and down since I think a little bit overrated with San Diego, but another guy left Pittsburgh. And yeah, the Orioles, 5th best. They were 3rd best a week ago, still the 5th best bullpen ERA in baseball. That's kept them alive in a very tough AL East, so we'll see if that bullpen can hold on. The Nationals, meanwhile, one of the worst bullpens in baseball, is why they've been so bad right down the road on the Beltway this year. Dave will have more baseball tomorrow and Friday at 1:45 Eastern here on First Pitch every Monday through Friday. And Dave, not only baseball, obviously we've talked a lot today, but you've got an NFL preseason special. You still get a $100 discount on Dave's NFL preseason package. Also, #1 all-time in college football, #1 in golf. What else you got going on WagerTalk.com this week?
I don't know. I have nothing to sell today. If you're an all-access guy, then you've already got to play on the one baseball game. And that's it for me today. So I don't know what I'll have tomorrow. That's why all-access is the way to go. If I got something good, you're going to get it. You're going to get it right away, as was the case in this game. On a daily basis, if I've got something good, I'll post it because I like to sell stuff, but I don't have anything today. So, but other guys do. I mean, Tony's coming up. Tony plays more games than I do, and he does a wonderful job at it. And I think is Jimmy Adams on later? He's on in the baseball. So Jimmy's on one of those runs that it's just unbelievable. Whatever he touches right now, he's got the Midas touch. You want to be on that guy's games. So buy their stuff.
Sounds good. It's a reason to buy an all access, like Dave said, because he will get those golf picks when he has them on a weekly basis. And he's had some huge winners in golf, and that's why he's #1 in that. CFL as well that he mentioned, Teddy. It's another sport a lot of us don't do. So the all access does work really well with Dave Cokin. And Dave will be on tomorrow and Friday on the baseball show. And once again, I'll be on both days hosting at 1:45 Eastern. We will have Jimmy Adams and Tony Finn today, Tony Finn and Dave tomorrow. But in 30 seconds, we got more baseball Teddy covers because we got a big game breakdown, National League style. Your childhood New York Mets against Drew Martin's Miami Marlins. We're back in 30 seconds, big game breakdown.
Stop. Don't buy that picks package or all access. Wait, what? Yep. Don't click add to cart until you check out our new deals page at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo, where you can find all the latest offers, promotions, and coupons available all in one place. These deals are updated daily and can be found by clicking deals in the nav at WagerTalk or Sports Memo, going to wt.buzz/deals, or scanning the QR code on your screen.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's go to Citi Field in New York and talk about the Mets and the Marlins. Right now, looking at the Wager Talk live odds screen, I'm seeing the Mets, let's call them -165. Total has been bet down pretty heavy. It was 9 last night. It was 8.5 this morning. Now I'm seeing 8s pretty much across the board. So there's been a fair bit of under money coming in this ballgame. I wouldn't argue with that necessarily. But I'm going to talk about the side here, because I'm not convinced the Mets are going to be scoring runs in bunches tonight, all right? Because Daniel's shown some real signs. He's allowed 2 earned runs or less 3 of his last 4 starts. He mowed down the Mets for 7 innings when he faced them last month. Miami's playing some good ball. They won 6 straight before getting Ohtani yesterday, as hot as they've been all year. Great starting pitching means the bullpen has stayed fresh for Miami. A huge deal for a team like the Marlins. And there's not much to like about Trevor Williams. Only twice all year. He made it twice through the order. The Mets have lost by 4 runs or more each of the last 5 times he's pitched. And I know New York rallied with a 5-run 10th inning yesterday against Cincinnati. That improved their record to 6-7 their last 13. All right, lead in the NL East is shrinking. The Mets are not a team I'm dying to put my money on right now. Marlins, live dogs today at the plus price at Citi Field. And there's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Merrill.
Yeah, Teddy, it's interesting because we've talked about both New York teams, the Yankees, and the Mets the last month or so. They're going to both regress at some point. As we said yesterday, it looks like the Mets regression has begun the past few weeks. One team I thought's been a little underrated this season has been the Marlins, 2 games below 500. But they're plus 12 net runs, which means they should be 2 games above 500. So even though they're 4th in that division, they're still plus net runs, which is sometimes an indication that teams are a little bit better than their overall record. So play on against a play against scenario there with the Marlins perhaps tonight, a big game breakdown style. Let's bring on Tony Mejia. We talked about Tony Finn on the baseball show later today and tomorrow. We got another Tony, though, that does baseball as well at WagerTalk.com. Tony Mejia, you will be out there in Vegas in August. Little birdie told me you'll be once again in the basketball 3-point shooting contest and the run and gun, whatever we're going to call it. I will be joining you this time. I don't know if Jay Money will be there to defend his title, so I think there's a chance you might get it, Tony, unless Ronald Kabang has something to say.
Yeah, Kabang can shoot. I've been I had my Achilles injury in 2019, and then I hadn't touched a basketball since that day where we did the shootout. That was the first time I've actually touched a basketball. So now I have the itch again. I'm back going to my rec center where you can play. Played 21 the other day, hands on my hips and all of that. So hopefully I'll be in better shape coming up.
The odds just moved at the virtual WagerTalk Casino and Sportsbook, and of course I'm the one setting the odds, and I've got myself at 50-1, and trust me, that's not because I'm trying to make money on myself. I cannot shoot a 3 to save my life. I'll be running and gunning. That's the only chance I've got, Teddy. But yeah, looking forward to it, Tony. That's by the way, that's Saturday, August 20th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Tark basketball complex, and that is in once again the itinerary with the discount code for the Westgate, the $45 a night room code, which is about to expire. Go to WagerTalk.com, click WagerTalk News, and get the full rundown there in that press release. Tony, let's talk some baseball, though. We got the red-hot Atlanta Braves. I had a free play winner yesterday. Check out WagerTalk.com for multiple free plays every day. Mine was on the Braves last night. What were they, 25-7 going in last night, or 24-7? Whatever it is, they won again. Cardinals have now lost 6 out of 7. Is Atlanta the play-on team once again tonight?
I definitely think they are. It'll be a client play for me, not my best play of the night, but I'm going to ride the Spencer Strider wave. He touched 102.4 miles per hour with a fastball in his last outing against the Reds. Struck out another 11 hitters. He's had 11 Ks in 2 of his last 4 starts. Did get beat up by the Giants there in one of those starts, but the other 3 he's been pretty rock solid. A guy that only goes about 5-6 innings in his starts because he works the count and gets a load of strikeouts. I saw his K prop for tonight is 7.5. Might be a little steep, but you get plus money, and he's gotten that in 2 of his last 4. Had 7 against the Dodgers to close out June. But really a pitcher that has come out of nowhere, a rookie that has really solidified that Braves rotation, and he's been rock solid. So I'm going to ride him tonight against the Cardinals, especially since the Cards are sending a lefty to the mound. The Braves hit lefties extremely well, and I think I will go with first 5 probably on the play, even though the Braves bullpen has also held up despite Kenley Jansen being sidelined.
In a first 5 scenario here, do you want to lay the money line or you want to lay a half run and expect Atlanta to win by margin?
Lay a half run. I think it's too steep on the money line, even though it bails you out if you end up tied. But from what I remember on the number, it's minus 170 or something.
We'll check real quick.
It is there. It is. No, for first 5, it is 230. So yeah, that's a little steep. You want to lay the half line.
Real steep.
Yeah, Tony, I was going to say it was 25-7 last night. They're now 26-7 straight up over the last 33 games. So it might not matter if you're playing full game or first five. They've just been red hot. This is an Atlanta team, of course, that was below 500 at this point last season, went on to win the World Series. So they are vastly ahead of pace after making the NL championship game 2 years in a row and winning the title last year. So once again, hard to back the Cardinals tonight. They're ice cold, one total run their last two games. Let's look at some NBA Summer League. You know, if Prez was here, this wouldn't be allowed probably, but luckily Prez isn't here, so we can talk NBA Summer League. He would mock you for 5 minutes, and then you'd have no time to make the analysis. But look, I want to get your insight on this. This is not something I handicap. Obviously, I dig deep into the NBA, and I think there's actually good money to be made in the Summer League. It's just a little bit too short of a season, too concise for me to jump in and do it for a couple of weeks. Want to know your thoughts on it and maybe an interesting matchup for tonight as well.
Well, yeah, we've already had action this week with the California Classic that the Lakers were hosting, and you kind of had a breakdown there where the Heat's team was the worst of the foursome, but they ended up beating Golden State the other night to avoid getting shut out. The Jazz host an event in Salt Lake City, and they are the worst in that group. So no surprise that the Grizzlies are laying 8 against them. I would lay that. I think I'm going to come in on that, and then the big boys of the big boy event in the Summer League is out in Las Vegas. You know, they play them on two separate courts at the Thomas and Mack, and it'll be most teams there. And tonight the drawing card is Paolo Banchero against Jabari Smith, and on ESPN, you know, two of the top 3 picks in the NBA draft going toe to toe, Rockets and Magic, and I believe the Magic were a slight favorite. There's player props available on DraftKings for that, so it'll be a big deal. I saw, both guys, Banchero and Jabari Smith. There's scoring 20 plus points, and you can get plus 115 at DraftKings. So yeah, it'll be fun to see how those two measure up. The Rockets are actually a 2.5 point favorite, and the number is 169 there. I don't mess around with totals because it really could go either way in summer leagues, but I definitely you can take a look at the rosters. The key to betting summer league is following all these beat writers, because you never know who's going to play deeper into the event. Like right now, everybody's all systems go, but I would not imagine that these guys will play 2 games and 3 games in 3 consecutive days. They'll get a day off, and you kind of want to be in on that handicap to understand who's playing and when, and who's not.
So, I mean, the story of the Summer League so far has got to be Chet Holmgren, the number 2 pick, when we have number 1 and number 3 going tonight. And if you've done nothing but play OKC and under, you've done pretty well, because Holmgren came to play, and he came to play defense. Do we expect any of that tonight with the 2 young stars or potential stars for Orlando and Houston? And obviously with the Rockets taking the money now minus 2.5, do you think that that move towards Houston is warranted?
Well, it's definitely helped Holmgren's cause to have a Josh Giddey out there, facilitating and doing what he did as a rookie. And both of these guys, Banchero and Smith, are going to need the veteran guards on their roster to facilitate similarly. Josh Christopher is playing that role for the Rockets. They've also got a rookie in Ty Washington from Kentucky who will probably play some point. And for the Magic, it's R.J. Hampton and Devin Kennedy who have been on the pro roster for a few years now. Actually surprised me that Hampton was playing, but they want to get him out there. So I think both of those guys will be set up to look good. And maybe we'll get a little faster pace. We'll probably see a lot of one another, but it'll be a great test for Banchero if he has to deal with Usman Garuba, the Spanish forward who is first round pick last year and is a defensive specialist. So he'll be out there for the Rockets.
Of course, the three of us about a week or two ago, we talked on, I believe, the day after the draft about, winners and losers here. And we all said that Oklahoma City getting 3 of the top 12 picks, might not help them in the near future as a young team. But then I think, Tony, you mentioned, and Rob Bino did also, that, Summer League might be where you keep an eye on them. And obviously it's a young and talented team. I know you said Pistons, I believe, Tony. And then we also mentioned the Pacers as some teams that did very well in the draft. So maybe some teams just from a big picture perspective to keep an eye on in the Summer League. Tony Mejia, multiple sports, including NBA Summer League, baseball. He does soccer, of course, as well, football, basketball. What else you got going on WagerTalk.com, and some good values for people? That all access is always great with you.
Yeah, we've got a 12-3 run going on 4% plays in MLB, so we'll look to add to that tonight. 6-0 on 5% plays in MLB this season, so we'll probably look to add to that this weekend. So it'll be a busy weekend, and really, I'm investing in. I love Summer League, so I'm investing in watching these guys and then trying to find some angles for clients on the hardwood.
That's Tony Mejia, WagerTalk.com, and you can see him on numerous shows here on WagerTalk TV. And we've talked about some baseball. We're going to talk a little bit more baseball with perhaps the hottest baseball capper on the planet, especially when it comes to big plays. And Jimmy Adams hit his, what is it, Jimmy, your 14th straight 5% winner yesterday with the San Francisco Giants on Wednesday on a 14-0 5% run on a 27-14 overall baseball run the last 30 days. He's so hot. I sent him one of these lucky shirts, and he put it on gracefully. And we're going to be on in about an hour also on the MLB show here at 1:45 Eastern. But Jimmy, let us know about that hot streak. It's just been incredible.
Yeah, I got the memo on the blue shirt earlier. Thank you for that, Steve. The run's been great. 14 straight 5% winners. I mean, it's just been solid handicapping and a little bit of luck. You got to have a little bit of luck. You reel off 14 straight winners in sports betting. That's just the way it is. But we've been picking great overall as well. 16-5 last 21. The number one ranked capper in ROI currently at WagerTalk. So it's been great, but there's a long season to go. So we've got to stay focused, and hopefully we can get out a couple more free play winners and then head over to WagerTalk and pay for my top play tonight.
I'd won 5 straight underdogs and thought I was going to cash 6 last night with Arizona until San Fran rallied back in the latter stages, which was good news for you and your bankroll, bad news for me and my bankroll. What'd you see? Because all I want to do is bet against the Giants. What'd you see yesterday in San Fran that made you want to back them? I'm fascinated by that. From a guy as hot as you to make a play as big as that on a team that's been just dead for a week. What'd you see? And congrats on the W.
Thank you. Yeah, it's actually kind of outside my norm because I preach that I'm a streak bettor all the time. I don't like to bet against losing streaks, and I bet on winning streaks and all that. But I really thought this was a rally the troops type game for San Francisco. They'd lost 6 straight. They're about to head to San Diego. They're playing a D-backs team that is about to sweep them, and they feel like they're better than. I really felt like you were going to get a great effort out of San Francisco. And honestly, it wasn't looking very good for a while there. And then they, made it dramatic in the 9th as well. But it also just speaks to kind of my lack of respect for the Diamondbacks offense. I know they've been hitting a little lately, but I'm not that high on Arizona.
Well, Jimmy, speaking of streaks, I want to ask you about one of the worst teams in baseball the last couple of months against probably the biggest overperformer in baseball all year. We talked about the Orioles a few minutes ago, how they vastly overachieved. I mentioned that bullpen's been much better than expected. The Angels are a team that was in first place, 27-17 in their division a couple months ago, and then they lose 14 straight, 18 out of 20. Orioles have now won 4 straight. The Angels continue to struggle. Is this a streaky team you're playing today in the Baltimore Orioles?
Sure is. We've been cashing a few tickets with the Orioles lately, and we should have been on them more. They're that one team that just misses the card a few days, but Orioles now on a 4-game winning streak. They've scored 19 runs in their past 3 games. I don't think this team's won 5 straight in a year. So for Baltimore standards, they are playing pretty well. And then you got a team, LA's lost 4 of 5 while scoring just 5 runs total in the 4 losses. Mike Trout, 1 for 18 slump. This isn't the first time he's gone through a major slump this season. And then you have Chase Silseth filling in. He's a spot starter. He's a fill-in guy. The Angels would prefer to not have him starting games. And his stuff, it's really great. 5.23 ERA, 5.78 FIP. The numbers certainly reflect that. This Orioles team can hit a little bit. They've got some pop in this lineup up and down from Trey Mancini and a few other guys. Jordan Lyle's probably not the guy I'm looking to bet on on a consistent basis, but he's off a good start. 1 run over 6.1 innings against the Twins last time out. So 2 teams headed in opposite directions, an Angels team that's struggling to score, an Orioles team that's Baltimore standards. So give me the O's at a good price tonight.
So I'm going to ask you about this, the money line, right? This is a pick'em game. And, I share a place with a couple of guys. I, have access. I talk to a bunch of guys. I haven't heard one person make any case in the world for LA. Everyone likes Baltimore in this game. And yet it's a pick'em price, and there's zero support for the underdog here. Why do you think it's holding? Is there something in Silseth that people like? Is there something in Lyles that they don't like? LA's win yesterday going to momentum them forward? I'm bad, and the consensus is all showing Baltimore. I mean, it's like nobody likes LA in a pick'em game, and that's one of those things. Like for me, that's a red flag. It's when absolutely nobody likes them, and it's pick'em. And you see the consensus numbers, see the cappers all come on the one side. So I talked myself out of Baltimore today. They were a lean, they weren't a play for me. And clearly, I think if you're talking about them here, it's probably the same for you. Talk a little bit about that concept with me. Why it's pick'em.
Yeah, definitely. So absolutely, that's a head-scratching situation, especially considering Baltimore's been taking money in pretty much every game. Every game is a dog. And the only reason that I can come up with is that maybe the Sharps don't like Jordan Lyles. But yeah, as far as that approach, when I see a line holding like this, it does make me think, oh my gosh, what's going on? Does someone know something I don't? But I got to trust my handicap here, and there's no way I can get to the window with the Angels. So at the current price, I mean, I got to give it a shot.
Yeah, and keep in mind that this is also a situation where the Orioles are hardly ever favored, this season. They've been actually a minus 105 favorite like 3 straight games and 3 straight wins against Texas the last 3. So also this line might have been underdog price otherwise. So, it's a weird price, but then again, the Orioles still are a vastly underrated team this year by the betting markets. Number 1 run line team in baseball, by the way, doesn't really apply much tonight, but that's where they've really been doing well is the plus 1.5. That's Jimmy Adams, 14 straight 5% best bet winners, including last night. He's red hot in baseball overall. He'll be on in exactly 1 hour with me and Tony Finn here on MLB First Pitch. Stay tuned. I might make a switch, uniform change, because Dave Cokin had a bluish shirt on also. And although I love these shirts, I don't want to blind the viewers. So stay tuned. See what color shirt I'm wearing in 1 hour. Jimmy, big game tonight in the AL East, Red Sox and Yankees. We've talked a lot about the Yankees in recent days here on the show, how they're due to regress. Just because they regress doesn't mean they're not going to still win 60, 65% of the games from here on out. In fact, I did the math yesterday as we were on the air, and just to finish at 110 wins, they'd be like a 64% win team the rest of the way. They're on a pace to win about 117-ish going into yesterday. How are you approaching this game tonight, Red Sox, Yankees?
Yeah, so I'm really high on this Boston team. I think I'm higher than most handicappers. That could be a little biased. The Red Sox have been so great, me and my clients. Nick Pivetta especially, I got to give him a shout-out. He's been tremendous. I know he took a loss in his last start, but prior to that, he's just been cashing tickets. I don't know why I'm harping on him. He's not even throwing tonight, but we're getting a nice underdog price here. So this is basically a numbers play for me. We're going to get Winkowski on the hill. He's put together 4 consecutive quality starts. I mean, 1, 2, 2, 0 earned runs in his last 4. He's thrown 5 innings in all of them. Boston can hit, and they often find themselves in situations where, second and third, 1 out, first and second, no out, and that's they're getting on base. They don't always capitalize, No team's going to capitalize all the time, but 1 through 9, these guys can absolutely rake. I know the Yankees can too. I know Garrett Cole's good too. And I'm not going to sit here and bash the Yankees because, quite frankly, there's not a lot bad
Yeah, sorry, we had some technical difficulties there. The system apparently crashed. Jimmy, I had all these follow-up questions to ask you. I'm going to save it for now. What we're going to do is make sure we promote you because you've been as hot as a firecracker. Tell folks what's going on tonight and in general over at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, so tonight, one best bet along with the 2 free plays that I got. Thanks to all the clients, by the way. The subscriptions have been tremendous. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to do my best to continue to make you money for the rest of the year and into football season. One best bet, head over to WagerTalk.com and grab it.
Yeah, keep in mind, he's won 14 straight 5%ers, but he's also 16-5 in MLB the last 20 and 48-20. So the 5%ers are nice, but those daily bread and butter plays where you're making even more money. And it's a great reason to have a direct subscription from Jimmy, Teddy Covers, myself, Steve Merrill, Dave Cokin, Tony Mejia. 7 days discounted to just $99. No promo code needed for each and all cappers. Get multiple cappers in your pocket right now and save as you do so. Teddy, by the way, I've got a quick promo code for that Wager Talk meet and greet. I said to go to the news section, click the news button. Even easier, shortcut code WT.buzz/MG for meet and greet. MG, like Teddy's first original car from the 70s, an MG. WT.buzz/MG. I know Teddy appreciated that one. He and I are old enough to remember the MGs. They appeared on Chips episodes in California in the 70s. But once again, WT.buzz/MG has all the details on the hotel discount codes at the Westgate, the basketball get-together, the golf outing, the meet and greet itself. Check that out, WagerTalk.com. Teddy, we'll do this again tomorrow. Thanks to all the guests that joined us today. Lots of baseball. I'll be back in 1 hour with MLB First Pitch at 1:45 Eastern. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell for instant alerts when these shows go live. Give us some comments below. Let us know your play on and play against teams in MLB. And Teddy, I'll talk to you again tomorrow on Friday.
I look forward to that, Steve. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us. Thanks to Jimmy Adams, Dave Cokin, and Tony Mejia for sharing their plays with us. And of course, best of luck tonight. Enjoy the games. We'll be back again tomorrow.
Why pay the regular price when you can save money on every purchase with WagerBucks at both WagerTalk and SportsMemo? WagerBucks are now eligible for use on not just daily, 3-day, and 7-day passes, but all long-term and seasonal packages up to 1 full year. There are tons of options available for every budget and size of bettor. From low as $100 gets $110, all the way up to $2,500 gets you $3,000. Save every day on every pick you buy with WagerBucks.